We were never loud together, never sharp or hard to keep. We didn't break each other, we just didn't reach that deep. Every moment felt honest, even when it felt unsure. What we shared was never empty, just unfinished. We spoke in careful sentences, left space around the truth. Not because we lacked the feeling, but because we feared the proof. We stayed kind, stayed gentle, let the quiet lead the way. And somehow that became the reason we couldn't stay. Some love lives in pause, not emotion. What we were was real to me, even if it couldn't be. Everything we didn't do still felt honest, still felt true. What we were was calm and rare, something tender in the air. Not forever, not alive, just a moment passing by. I don't rewrite how it ended, I don't wish it anymore. I just hold it as it was, nothing less and nothing more. There's no anger in remembering, no regret I need to hide. Just a quiet understanding that we tried. Some endings don't erase, they remain in place. What we were still shapes my days in the smallest quiet ways. Not a wound, not a scar, just a mark of where you are. What we were won't fade from view, because it mattered, because you and loving you was never wrong. It just couldn't last this long. If someone asked me someday why you didn't stay, I'll say it was the kind of love that didn't need to change. We didn't fail, we didn't fall, we just reached the edge of what two careful hearts could hold. What we were, I carry light, not heavy, not denied. In the quiet I still see, it was part of becoming me. What we were, I let it rest with gratitude, not emptiness, not a loss I need to prove, just a love I once I was early, standing still, watching hours lose their will. Neon lights above the street felt like signs that wouldn't speak. I didn't know your face or name, just a quiet sense of change, like something passed me by without a reason why. You were somewhere down the road, laughing light, moving slow. Different night, different air, still the same unanswered prayer. Two stories almost crossed, both unaware of what was lost so close it almost hurt. Yet nothing touched the surface. They say moments know their time, but this one never learned mine. I felt it leave before it stayed a soft goodbye. I never waved. We almost met, almost knew what it feels like holding you. Almost stood in something real, almost let our hearts reveal. One more step, one more sign, one more look at the right time. We almost met, and that's the part I can't forget. Days went on like nothing changed. Still the world felt rearranged. Every stranger felt too near. Every silence felt sincere. I kept thinking maybe soon fate would fix the timing wound, but time just kept its pace and never turned its face. I imagine how you sound when the room is quiet down, how you say a simple word like it's something to be heard. I don't make you more than true, I don't dress you up in blue, just someone I might have known if the night had been its tone. Some connections never start, still they leave a gentle mark. Not a scar, not a flame, just a thought without a name. We almost met, almost stayed, almost found the words to say, almost built a small beginning before the chance went missing. Almost felt what comes next, almost learned what love protects. We almost met, and that almost still feels heavy. I don't call it destiny, just a space between you and me, where something warm could live but never got the chance to give. No anger, no regret, just a tenderness I kept for someone I never touched, but somehow felt so much. We almost met, not quite there, almost held a future shared, almost heard your voice say mine in a softer kind of tone. Even now I sometimes see who we almost got to be. We almost met, and that almost still lives in me. I carried it where no one saw, not even you. I held the feeling carefully so it wouldn't last too much. You never pushed me away, you just never stepped in. So I learned how to keep loving without being held. I watched you turn your head when my heart leaned closer, not because you didn't care, but because you couldn't stay. I told myself this was enough, that quiet meant something kind. But every night proved I was loving alone. Some love stopped expecting anything, stopped hoping you would turn. I learned how to lower my voice so it wouldn't burn. I became careful with my feelings, like they were too much to give. And somehow that felt easier than watching you leave. Some hearts stay full even when they are empty. I loved alone every night while you slept just fine. I loved alone, holding space for something that wouldn't arrive. I didn't blame you for the way I just carried it away. I loved alone, and you knew, you never knew if loving you had required less. I would have stayed lighter if silence hadn't felt safer. I might have fought harder, but you never asked for my heart. I never asked you to stay, so we lived in different truths without saying nothing. I loved alone, now I see the loving you caused part of me. Not because you were unkind, but because you weren't mine. I loved alone, soft and deep, until it was all I could be. I loved alone, and now I let it rest. Some days still feel unfinished, like something stayed behind. Not enough to pull me backward, just enough to cross my mind. I don't reach for you anymore, but I still notice when I could, like a door I never opened, but remember where it stood. Your name rests easy now, it doesn't shake my breath, it doesn't stop my footsteps or follow me to bed. Still there are moments when the past feels close, not asking to return, just asking to be known. Some love doesn't leave, it only softens. You're almost still mine in my head, in the quiet things you never said. Not a future, not a claim, just a feeling without shape. You're almost still mine somehow, in the way I remember you now. Not close enough to stay, not far enough to fade. I stopped asking what it meant, stopped trying to define where we ended and where I began. I let the questions lie. There's no anger in the memory, no sharp edge to the truth. they settle. You're almost still mine at night when the world slows down inside. Not a wish, not regret, just a warmth I haven't met again. You're almost still mine, it's true in the way I once knew you. Not holding on, letting go, just something quiet I still know. I don't ask where you are now or who your heart has found. I just hope you feel at peace in whatever life allows. What we had was never wrong, it just couldn't stay. And loving you this way is how I let it be okay. You're almost still mine, I admit, in the smallest, calmest sense. Not a loss I carry loud, just a truth I live around. You're almost still mine, but I'm free to let you stay where you need. In the quiet I release what we almost came to be. I never asked you to say it, never needed the sound. I watched the way you stayed near when no one else was around. You listened without fixing, let my silence arrive, and somehow that felt deeper than hearing you try. I learned your quiet habits, the pauses you keep, how you look at the floor before you speak. Nothing ever confirmed it, still nothing felt unsure. I held on to the feeling because it felt pure. Some truths don't ask to be seen, they exist in between. Love without proof stayed alive in the way you met my eyes. Not declared, not explained, just a closeness that remained. Every moment softly grew, even when you never choices, kinds of ways. Not a promise I could show, just something real I know. Even now it feels the same when I hear you say my name. Love without proof, never needed more. We talked about everything else, the weather, the hours, the day. We moved around what mattered, like it might get in the way. Your eyes held something deeper, but your mouth never went there. I waited for the moment that never came. I felt it sitting between us, heavy but still not loud enough to break the calm, just quiet enough to stay. Every pause felt intentional, like we both understood that saying it out loud would change the good. Some truths survive in the air until no one dares. Something went unsaid that night, and it stayed with me. And the way you looked away right before you spoke to me, we let a silence choose instead of the words we never said. Something went unsaid, and it grew. I replayed it after every version of the scene, where one of us was braver and didn't keep it clean. But each time I reached that moment, I stopped the same way you did, afraid of breaking something we were still in. Some chances don't collapse, they slowly slip through gaps. Something went unsaid again, and it started to show in the way our voices soften when they used to flow. We stay careful, stay polite, let the distance feel alright. Something went unsaid, and it stayed. I thought quiet meant respect, thought patience showed control, but maybe it was fear wearing something gentle. If I said what I was feeling, would you still be near? Or would the truth have cost us what we had here? Something went unsaid too long, and it changed the shape we're in. Not a fight, not a goodbye, just a soft collapse within. Every time I hold my breath, I feel what was left. Something went unsaid, and now it's everywhere. We still sat in the same place, still share the same same small space, but something shifted in between without a sound. Your hand rested near my own, like it always had before. Still I felt the distance grow quietly. You spoke kindly, softly still, like you didn't wanna hurt. Every word was measured now, like it carried weight. I watched the way you chose your pauses, careful where they fell, as if the truth might show itself if you stay too long. Some closeness fades in place without ever leaving. Fingers drift apart in time, not by force and by design. Just a space we didn't fight, growing through the night. Fingers drift apart, still near, close enough to feel the fear. Nothing broke, nothing tore, we just didn't hold the same anymore. I stopped leaning into you before you stepped away. Not because I felt rejected, just because I knew that reaching out would change things, make the quiet real. And I wasn't ready yet to feel you. Some endings take their shape before they have a name. Fingers drift apart again, even while we still pretend that the calm means we are fine, that this space is by design. Fingers drift apart, I see you're not holding back from me. You're just already gone, somewhere I can follow on. I didn't ask you where you stood, I felt it in the air, in the way your eyes no longer look for me there. Kept my hands to myself, like that would make it kind, like distance could protect us from what we'd find. Fingers drift apart, slow and small, not a moment more or a fall. Not dramatic, not untrue, just the shape of me and you. Fingers drift apart, and still I remember how it felt when we were close enough, before we knew we weren't. We stopped crossing the same streets, stopped sharing the small details. Your name stayed on my phone, but the days stopped leading there. I noticed how the quiet moved into different rooms, like distance wasn't sudden, it just learned us. Your life kept moving forward, mine slow just enough. Not dramatic, not broken, just missing your touch. nights we learn how to exist now without explaining why. Two people who once aligned, now passing by. Some space arrives so slow, you don't feel it grow. Distance learned us how to stand on our own without a plan. Not angry, not undone, just to no longer one. Distance learned us what remains when love won't say its name. I didn't lose you fast, I lost you over time. I stopped expecting messages, stopped waiting for the sign that might pull us back again across the line. I learned your absence had weight, even when it felt kind, and how letting go quietly still takes time. Some goodbyes don't feel like ends, they feel like subtle bends. Distance learned us how to live with the space we didn't give. Every memory stayed near, but the future disappeared. Distance learned us calm and slow when neither heart would say out loud, I didn't stop loving you, I just learned how to be without it. If love had been louder, maybe we would have stayed, but silence felt safer, so we let it lead the way. I don't blame you for leaving, you never truly left it. We just walked in opposite ways, protecting what was left. Distance learned us piece by piece how to find a quieter peace. Not because we didn't care, but because we cared this way. Distance learned us less, now I see how far apart we had to be to understand what love can do when it never asks you to choose. Most days I move just fine, like nothing's underneath. I laugh when it makes sense, I sleep when I feel weak. But sometimes in the stillness, when I'm not trying to cope, something gentle rises without being provoked. It isn't pain exactly, it doesn't ask for tears. It feels more like a moment that forgot to disappear. Your presence isn't vivid, it's softer than before, like a thought that passes through an open door. Some memories don't return, they surface surfaces I pause, not because it hurts, but because it was ours. Not a wound, not regret, just the truth I haven't made in a while. When it surfaces, I let it. I don't reach for it anymore. I don't follow where it goes. I just notice how it moves and how gently it shows that what we shared still matters. Even now, even then, not as something I hold on to, just something I remember. Some love lives on without direction. When it surfaces again in the smallest passing sense, I don't stop, I don't stay, I just let it have its way. It doesn't ask me to return, it doesn't ask me to forget. When it surfaces, I breathe. I used to think moving on meant never feeling this, but now I know it just means not letting it resist. You were part of how I love, not the end of who I am. And remembering you softly is something I can stand. When it surfaces at night, in the calm before the light, I don't fight it, I don't hide, I just let it pass inside. It doesn't change where I belong, it just proves that I was strong. When it surfaces, I stay We didn't call it anything, just stay where we were. Your shoulder close to mine, like it had always known. The room felt calm around us, nothing asking to be said. I watched the light move slowly across the side of your face. Time softened in that moment, like it finally slowed. Your hand rested near my own, but never crossed the line. I felt the space between us more than any touch. How closeness sometimes says more when it doesn't rush. Not every heart needs clarity, some just need proximity. Still beside you, breathing slow, saying things we'll never quote. Nothing claimed and nothing shown, just a feeling gently grown. Still beside you, close and true, close enough to feel the truth. Still beside you, and that was more than I expected. I noticed how you listened, like the world could wait. Every word I almost said felt safe enough to stay. You didn't try to fill the space or shape it into sense. You just stayed exactly there, like that alone was meant. Some connections don't arrive, they quietly align. Still beside you. Time stood still, not because it had to, but because it wanted to. Still beside you, nothing loud, just two shadows in the crowd. Still beside you, letting quiet tell the story. I didn't ask where this would lead, didn't try to make it last. I just stayed inside the moment while it gently passed. If this was all we ever were, I wanted it to stay this way, untouched by too much meaning, unbroken by a name. Still beside you, even now I remember how it felt. Not a promise, not a vow, just closeness being itself. Still beside you, coming near me, like nothing else existed here. Still beside you, and I never rushed away. You spoke low like you meant it, like words were something to hold. I watched your hands when you talked up, like they already knew mine. Nothing loud in the moment, just a calm I couldn't place. Still I felt something open in the space between our names. We stayed longer than planned, let the minutes fall apart. Every pause felt honest, like we didn't need a rush. Your smile wasn't careful, it just happened on its own. And I wondered if you knew what your silence showed. Not every promise needs to shine, some just rest between the lines. Soft enough promises were made, not in words but in the way you looked back before you turned, like there was more you hadn't learned. Nothing's sworn, nothing signed, just a feeling taking time. Soft enough promises still felt real. Days move slow after that. Every message felt sincere. I read your name like a secret I was allowed to keep. We didn't ask where it was going, we didn't frame the truth. We just stayed inside the moment, like it was something new. Some connections form too deep to be measured while they breathe. Something of promises stayed in the spaces we didn't say. Every pause held something warm, every night felt gently torn. Nothing lasts, nothing more, just a closeness learned to slow. Soft enough promises still Didn't need you to declare anything you couldn't bear. I just needed you to stay exactly as you were that day. No future drawn in lines, no fear of being behind. Just two hearts moving near, without a reason to fear. Soft enough promises remain, even now they don't feel faint. They don't call, they don't fade, they just live the way they can. And in a glance, in the way you said my name and looked away, soft enough promises still feel true. You said my name like it mattered, like it wasn't just a sound. I heard it stay in the air long after you sat back down. The room felt suddenly smaller, like it knew it just occurred. Every thought I tried to hold was shaped around that word. I caught myself replaying how your voice gently fell, not loud, not asking, just saying it so well. I walked home slower than usual, let the night follow me. Every step repeating what you sounded like to me. Some moments don't leave right away, they find a quieter way to stay. Your name lingered in my head like a song I hadn't said, not stuck, just softly near, showing up when things were clear. Every time the room felt still, I could almost hear it again. Your name lingered, and I let it. Days kept moving like they do, but something underneath had changed. I paused before replying, like time suddenly had weight. I wasn't lost in thinking, just aware in a new way, like something gentle started and decided it could stay. Not every feeling rushes through, some take their time. With you, your name lingered through my day in the simplest, quiet ways. Not demanding, not too strong, just enough to pull me on. Even silence knew it well, how it sounded when you said your name lingered. And I didn't push it away. I stayed inside longer than planned. Curtains closed, phone in my hand. Days forgot to introduce themselves. Time fell loose on the shelf. I spoke to no one but the walls. Let the quiet answer my calls. Every song I sang in my head stayed safer than words I never said. I built whole worlds on the floor. Traveled far without the door. Stars, distance, nights, and space all live inside this place. I wasn't moving, still I ran through every version of who I am. Every love I couldn't live, I kept here. Imagine some hearts survive by dreaming. Instead of leaving, it was only me in the room. And every song was something I assumed. Every story felt real and true, but none of it reached you. I stayed still, I stayed inside, while love lived only in my mind. It was only me in the life I couldn't show. I pictured you softer than you were. Gave you lines you never heard. In my head you always stayed. Said the things you never said. I forgave you in 1,000 ways. That you love me every day. All without the risk of facing what was missed. Some pain hides behind creation. Looks like imagination. It was only me in the room, holding on to a quiet truth. Every feeling found its place in an imagined space. I stayed locked where I felt safe. Let the world outside just wait. It was only me keeping love alive. I thought staying hidden and staying whole, but even dreams grow heavy when carried alone. I wasn't healing, I was paused, living gently with the cause of a love that never came back, in a heart that stayed intact. It was only me in the room, and every song I sang was you. Every meaning, every line was a way to pass the time. Now the door is still right there. I'm just breathing, standing near. It was only me, but I'm still here. You spoke less than you used to, left more space than before. Your answers stayed polite, but never reached the core. I noticed how the pauses started feeling planned, like silence had become something you could command. You listened like you always did, but something wasn't there. Your eyes were rest beside me, never meeting mine. I filled the space with patience, told myself it was fine, but every calm reply of yours left something behind. Some distance wears a smile and calls itself gentle. You stay quiet, so did I. Let the moments pass us by. Nothing said and nothing clear, just the truth we didn't hear. You stay quiet, calm and kind, left me guessing what was mine. In the hush I understood you were gone before you left. I stopped asking how you felt, stopped hoping you would say something that might pull us back from slipping this way. We became careful versions of who we used to be, protecting what was left by not reaching for me. Some endings don't arrive, they're slowly reorganized. You stay quiet every time. I was ready to define what we were becoming now, or what we let go of. You stay quiet, soft and sure, like you're ready. Close the door, and I stood there in between, trying not to feel unseen. If you had spoken, I might break. If you had stayed, I might wait. But quiet gave me just enough to stay and still feel lost. I wanted honesty, but I also wanted you. So I let silence be the thing that carried us through. You stay quiet now. I know what that quiet tried to show. Not confusion, not delay, just a softer kind of no. You stay quiet and somehow there are more than words allow, because love still filled the space where you chose not to stay. I stay quiet when you pause, let the moments take their course. I told myself it wasn't time, that patience had its reasons. Every night I felt you near, still the space refused to clear. I kept believing closeness, and something more. You never pushed me back, you never pulled me close. You stayed right in the middle with nothing there to show. I learned how to read your silence better than your voice, and I stayed there longer than I had a choice. Some waiting feels like faith, some waiting feels misplaced. I waited longer than I should, held on quieter than you knew. different doors, same kind of fate. I didn't know your face yet, but I felt something shift. They say love arrives on time, but timing never asked me why. We almost met before the spark, almost crossed the same dark. One more step, one more sign. We almost met at the wrong time. You were laughing somewhere else. I was learning how to be myself. Two lives moving unaware, how close we really were. If I had turned my head that day, would your eyes have stayed? We almost met, almost knew what our names were meaning to. Almost felt what came next. We almost met. I don't call it destiny, just a space between you and me, where love waited patiently and left quiet.